Welcome to Not From Here, a podcast dedicated to past versions of ourselves.
And the current versions of all of you. We are your co-hosts. I'm Riley Klauza.
And I am Isa Rodriguez. And we are just a couple of Michiganders turned New Yorkers trying to get a grip.
Have you ever been made fun of for the way you say things or thought, damn, I never even realized I had an accent?
Well, we have too, because we're definitely
not from here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey! What day is it? Is it a Wednesday? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Who's joining us?
Who's with us right now?
It's
Ellis Gage.
Oh, wow.
They tried
What an
something
introduction. What an introduction. Oh my gosh.
We sounded like ghosts.
That's like one of my favorite. Like right off the bat, like funny story. When I was I think I was 11 or 12. I was in middle school. I was doing like the anthem for like the US Open, and the announcer said he thought that the second G in my last name was silent. So in middle school on television, he went, "Ladies and gentlemen, Ellis Gage," and I was really I was a sensitive kid. It was not fair. It was not nice. The video's somewhere on the internet, but I was very unhappy that day.
Wow. Now, a silent G in a 4-letter name is...
I would never think that, personally.
Hey, I would also never think that. But hey, he made a choice the same way that we made a choice.
We made a choice
Yeah.
in the ghost.
Or he was just
apparently.
clocking me. I don't know. Like, could have been doing anything.
You said you were 11? Nice.
Yeah.
A good age to start getting clocked.
Interesting.
Rough.
It's rough out here, you guys. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, I'm hanging in there. I mean it's rainy today, but I'm glad that it's not as frozen as it has been. It's been a brutal winter. We were just talking about that before we started. Like it's been really, really something. And I'm from New England, so it shouldn't be such a shock to my system, but like it has been.
Yeah, totally.
Tell us about the winters growing up in New England. Do you feel they were equivalent to New York? Worse?
I don't really know. I think like my tolerance has just changed. Like I don't. It's hard to kind of compare. Like was it worse? Was it better? I just know like when I'm cold, and I'm not in a good mood. So.
That's fair. And now there's slush all over the place from the warmer weather.
Gross out.
Melting.
Can I say
disgusting.
I so prefer the slush because when it's just like mountains of snow and ice, you have all of New York City in a single file line. It is the worst thing I could possibly imagine. And it's like, it's not until then that you realize how slow everyone is. It's not until like you're all walking in a single file line that like, oh, if one person is really slow, then everyone's going to be really slow and you're not going to get to where you need to go.
Absolutely.
A new pace is set. Well, we are very excited to have you on. I feel like we've been hoping to have you on for a while.
I'm excited to be here.
We've kind of met through mutual online worlds.
We did like a couple table reads together.
We sure did. And I feel like that's when we actually connected.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Not From Here stage, I guess, or couch. For lack of better phrasing. But yeah, we're excited to hear about your wheelhouse of work and also just talk to you and get to know you a little more as a person. So yeah, you started off by telling us that you're from New England.
Yes.
Specifically Boston. Am I correct? Am I wrong?
Very, very close.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm like lying on my website or something. I'm from the Boston area. I'm from a town called Methuen. It is like just north of Boston. It's like a good like 20 minutes outside.
Yeah.
You can say Boston.
Right.
It's coming
right.
from someone that says Detroit and she's like 20 minutes from Detroit. So
Right. Like just outside of Boston, like both my parents like work in Boston and like kind of like have for a long time. So it's Boston.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you grew up and maybe got into theater. Any crazy childhood stories?
Oh, totally. I mean, I think for me it was Disney. It was because I grew up. I loved Disney, and when I was little, like I was lucky enough to like visit Disney World, and I saw they have a really funny, funny now, like life changing for me at the time, but like a really interesting like 25-ish minute stage version of Beauty and the Beast at Walt Disney World in Hollywood Studios. They used to have one in Disneyland too. But I just remember seeing that and seeing like the even shorter like stage version of the Little Mermaid that they have, and kind of like I used to call it the real people version. I was like, oh, so there's like the movie version and then there's the real people version. I thought it was so cool and so like such a novel idea to have like humans doing what the cartoons are supposed to be doing. And I like that was kind of my introduction to the premise of like what a stage actor is. Like to this day, Beauty and the Beast is like not only one of my favorite Disney movies, but just like one of my favorite movies, period. Like it's a really, really good one. And so, that was kind of the beginning of the end for me. I really fell in love with that. I got involved with community theater like around the time I was like 7 or 8. I started working when I was 10, so I've been in Manhattan for a really long time. I've been here since I was like 10 or so. I lived in Inwood for a stint. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I think I've been in the city like. I mean, I say since 2010, it's been a non-consecutive, cumulative, like 13 years or so.
So you're a real New Yorker. They say
Something
it's like
that.
10 years, right?
More than half my life. Yeah.
Wow,
So
nice.
it's been good. I do love it here, but I try to make it to Massachusetts to like see the parents, see the sister. I have a younger sister. She's as recently is like a full-time theater teacher at Catholic elementary school. So
Shaping lives.
She is. No, I'll make it out to see her littles do their production of Matilda or Bust. But she seems to be having a really great time, and like it's close enough that like if I didn't make it out there, like at least like once or twice a year, I would be kicking myself.
Yeah,
because
of course.
I got to. It's like
Is
a
it just
5-hour
like-
bus ride.
I was going to ask, is it bus ride, plane, train?
I mean, like for money reasons, it's always bus for me,
okay,
like
cool.
because that's the cheapest. But like it's like what's 5 hours? That's
No.
Like, I just
I
get
would love someone to
projects done on my
drive me
phone.
for 5 hours and not doing the road trip myself.
Passenger princess for sure.
Yep.
So you mentioned you moved here a long time ago, please, but to start your acting career professionally at an early age.
Yeah.
So you started off with the pre-Broadway cast of James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah. I did that before I was in New York because like ultimately it ended up at Atlantic.
yeah.
But I got to workshop it a little, and we did it out of town at Goodspeed. It was really cool. It was like Pascal Paul's first, I think, book musical, and like Graciela Danielle was directing. So it was a really like intense launch into the industry, and from there I got to work on like a lot of really fun stuff. But I think, you know, I grew up around a lot of kids who unfortunately like parents were pushing them to do this, but like if anything, like I really pushed my parents into this world. like I got them to let me live here, like sometimes pretty independently. And like I was in and out of the city too. Like I was still like trying to do elementary school in Massachusetts. I would like usually have a tutor, like but yeah, no, it was truly like fun and formative in all the best ways. Like it's not the kind of thing that I look back and I'm like, oh, that like messed me up, or I mean it did, but like risk versus reward, like good outweighs the bad.
Totally. Wow. I'm like, this is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That is really impressive.
How what? Oh,
No,
I'm
no.
sorry. I don't want to interrupt you.
I was going to cut you off, so please take the floor again.
No, I was going to ask, what was that audition process like at such a young age? Do you have like any specific memories from that time? Or
Ooh, I mean, just the audition processes in general. I don't know. I like to think that like people try to be good to kids.
Yeah.
People try to be nice, but like it's also a lot like you're really getting to know kind of the cutthroat nature of what the industry is. I did James. I did a show called Dani Girl. It was a Kooman and Dimond musical. Scott Schwartz directed. It was Cherry Lane was developing it and doing stuff with it. There was like a Peter Pan iteration that Phyllis Newman, Adolph Green's widow, directed. That I got to do. Like I did like some fun regional stuff. Like plenty of King and I's being an Asian person, being an Asian kid. It was like, yeah, like this is where he'll go. There was I did a lot for like New York City Opera. There was some stuff I did like at the Met. I was also like very into opera and like classical stuff growing up. There was also like Boston Lyric Opera, which was like a really great like place to kind of grow up and like do some things in my downtime, so to speak.
Yeah, when you're not already performing.
Sure.
Wow, that is really incredible. After you performed, tell us a little bit about transitioning into school. You went to an in-person school here in the city for a bit, right?
No. I went. I was getting tutored for a while. Here in the city, I was doing like an off-Broadway show for a little bit, and kind of felt like I wanted to go back to like normal school and like try other things. So like for high school, I went to a boarding school in Massachusetts. It was St. Mark's School in Southborough. It was a really different experience. I tried to be an athlete. I tried a bunch of stuff. I tried like I was a competitive rower. And I say that I was not very good at it. I was not very good at it. I was on land most of the time. Like it was rare that like I would like get called out to like actually like compete and like be on the water. I was also on the basketball team. I was always a tall kid.
I was gonna say you're very tall.
Yeah. I like to the point that it surprises people sometimes to meet me.
I was a little shocked when I came in the room.
But I was on the basketball team and like quickly found that I was like very not good at basketball. I kind of found that like I wasn't very good at any sports, but it was one of those like independent New England schools that like you have to play a sport every season and like you compete with the other independent New England schools. But it was fun. It taught me a lot about myself. It was good to be there, good to like kind of try something else. And then ultimately I found my way back into the arts.
Yeah. It sounds like you kind of had a big impact at that school too. You had a hand in creating the musical theater program there, where you fed up with the rowing. You were like, I need to sing my heart out.
No, I mean, I was trying to do both, which was crazy. But my first year there, they didn't have any musical theater. Like they didn't have a musical theater program. Like they had like theater class and they had a choir. I know like they had a play. But when I got there, I was like, I know that this is not what I'm here to do, but I made a lot of friends and very quickly learned that like this is something that people love and like people are interested in doing, you know, if not at like any like real professional level, just like recreationally, because like you're in high school, like this is the time like you should get to try these things. So yeah, when I started there, I brought Dani Girl to because it was very producible. It's small. It all takes place in like one room, and it's like a cast of 4. And it taught me how to like produce, how to direct, how to kind of market, and like I was also like doing like costumes and sets and like putting all this stuff together, you know, like I got a lot of help from like parents of the student body who were like, oh, this is exciting. So like I did a lot of I did a lot of crowdsourcing. I did a lot of fundraising. But it was very, very cool. Like the first year that I was there, I was 14, and people were just so moved by that show, like people who came to see it, and it was just like another 14-year-old on piano, and like some and a few other kids who like had never thought they would ever do a musical, never thought they would be on stage, but just did it because I asked them one night during study hall, and they were like, yeah, I guess I could try this. Like I am in the choir. Like I would try this. The next year we did like a production of Big Fish that like really expanded, and we got to do a bunch of fun stuff. And I like by the time I graduated, we were doing Legally Blonde with a cast of 66 kids. 66 kids. I think only 9 of whom had ever seen a musical. Which was so crazy because
what a crazy show to like.
I know. But it really reached people, and people kind of fell in love and kept wanting to do it, and it grew and it grew. And I know, like, after I left, like they kept doing it. I if I'm not mistaken, like the program still exists now and is like kind of a part of the curriculum. So and I've been back. I got to see their Mamma Mia, their Hairspray, which like they managed to like cast appropriately and like do the right way, like, which was really great. I didn't even see that, like when they said they were going to do Hairspray, I was like that's a specific show to do, like you need like a certain like number of Black actors and also like people who can dance, and they did it,
and they figured it out.
I think they dealt with like a little blow after I left, like due to COVID, but I think they're still doing it. So
good.
Yeah.
That's a huge impact. I mean, wow. So many kids that probably graduated with you too, or left with you being like, wow, my life has changed.
A
now
couple
I
of them
understand
are in the industry.
Theater. That's wonderful.
Like a couple of them are like now in the industry, like doing it professionally.
You changed lives, truly.
Something like that. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's what we're here to do. And it also it taught me just like what I think and what we all contain. Besides like doing the one thing that we always thought we were going to do. Like I was very much, as a kid, like I was an actor, I was an opera singer, and I was really kind of gung-ho about that. But through this experience, I think I learned like that there are other things creatively that I really love and that really drive me.
I love that. You mentioned that you feel that there's a lot of creative things that make you feel like you have this spark. What are some of them aside from performing, singing?
Yeah, I mean, I know like at some point I would love to be directing. I mean, I love kind of bringing people together, like curating good rooms of good people, which can take a lot of forms. I've done like a little bit of producing. Like there's some which has been like so rewarding because like I find like new works, new pieces that I really believe in, and kind of like can assemble a room of like, oh, here's who should be directing this. Like, here's someone I think like would really be great if they were attached like in the cast. Like, here's someone who I think like has the life experience and just like also the right vibes to be like on this creative team. So I like to think of myself as a connector. Like it's a small world, and I've been so lucky to like make so many like wonderful, meaningful, and special connections. Mm-hmm. So I do love kind of just introducing people to the right people. Like there are a lot of things that I have been lucky enough to like leave some fingerprints on by like just recommending and facilitating connections. I also write musicals. I didn't really see that for myself at all because it was kind of something that was untapped for a little while. I tried writing some plays in high school, like for like one act festivals and stuff. Like I've like taken classes in it before, but I never really thought that I would like be doing that. But I have like one of the greatest collaborators in the world. Like I cannot say enough good things about him. His name is Sean Palatroni, casually like an Emmy winner. Yeah. Yeah. But really, really like one of the greatest composers of our time. I met him working on a show in New York, like right after I graduated. Wow. Some new musical that like he did the music and lyrics for, and then a little while later, like he saw me in something, and we reconnected, and like we were talking. I got to like do his thesis at NYU because he was in the grad musical theater writing program. Mm-hmm. And one night, like we were just at his apartment having dinner, and he was like, I want to show you like this project I've been working on. It's a new musical called Out of the Blue. He wrote that with another collaborator, Mark Mazzarella. And I was just so like moved and inspired by it. It's really fascinating. It's about a girl in college who is a visual artist, and she finds out that she's losing her vision. Like she's dealing like with an impending disability of like, she's trying to beat the ticking clock of like before she goes completely blind. Like she's trying to create her masterpiece, and kind of about like, what do you do when you are when you're an artist faced with kind of the thing that you do, the thing that you create being potentially taken away from you, and how you adapt and keep going. So I loved that. I put together a reading of that. Mark got some grant money, and I was like, okay, here's who needs to direct. Here is like who should be in the cast. And I was out like doing a show regionally at the time, but like I was producing remotely with Sean. And then one day he got a commission to write a new musical for a theater education program for like for kids, like high school and college students. And it's really cool. It was this company, an acting studio called A Class Act New York, and they offer like a really cool summer program where they have their students learn how to workshop a brand new musical that is written kind of for them, and like is done for the first time there. And so I had a story idea that I kind of brought to Sean, and I was like, you could totally run with this, like if you wanted to. And he was like, well, actually, I think you're going to write it with me. And he was like, I want you on book for this. And I was like, I've never written a thing in my life that's gotten produced. And he was like, well, you're going to now, and it's going to be great. But we're really, really proud of that. We have since kind of been in the beginning processes of writing some other stuff, and we're really trying to measure up to where it's supposed to be. Like we've been working with some really fantastic producers, like fingers crossed that like we get to do something in London with it. We have a production going up in Connecticut over the summer, which we're really excited about, just to like kind of see it on its feet in a whole new way. I have started writing with the great Jariah Kwame. He wrote a show called Little Miss Perfect, but I did the workshop. It's actually at Olney Theater right now at the time of recording in February. It's getting its world premiere at Olney right now.
Okay, I thought I had seen that. That's wonderful. Yeah. Wow. Such new work is such a fascinating topic, and I feel like I personally feel really lucky. At my university, there was a smaller musical theater initiative where they would bring in a new piece a year, kind of workshop it. Some of Ryan Scott Oliver's work was done there. Joey Contreras some of his work has been done there as well. Even Matthew Lowy.
Matt Lowy?
Yes, just did a show there. Oh my gosh, the name escapes me. I'm so sorry, Matt. But yes, they really take in wonderful things. But I mean, I got to do that at the age of 20.
I just got to do a very exciting like top secret project for Matt that I can't talk about here, but it it's killing me not to be able to, but like I cannot say enough good things about Matt Lowy. Yeah.
We are big Matt Lowy fans.
We're obsessed with him.
Yeah. And Ryan and Joey.
And Ryan and Joey. All of the writers.
These are my peeps.
But just, the fact that y'all were able to create a piece of new work for a younger generation, and they get to hands-on go through a process like that and read material that they've never seen on TV or like in a movie or on a stage before. That's super exciting.
I mean, and the thing is like kids are smart, and I'm not even just talking about like our college kids and like our young adults, like even like our little kids. I mean, I remember the thing about, I keep going back to Dani Girl, but like it was such a formative piece of theater for me. I remember like the idea, it's about two kids, like a 9 and a 10-year-old with cancer who meet in the pediatric cancer ward, and like they're accidentally made roommates, and they like have all these imaginary adventures inspired by like their favorite movies and stuff, just kind of like about how like they're gonna beat this, and like it was really, really special. But like it had been workshopped a lot and done a lot with adults. And when Scott Schwartz came on and kind of unshelved the project, I believe he did that under the condition that they used two real kids. And so that's kind of how I ended up on that. But like I have a lot of like belief in and just like respect for what young people bring to the table. And it was so great to like be at Class Act and work with that with those kids. I'll tell you a little bit about Measure Up.
Please,
Like it's
we'd love to hear.
it is loosely about like restrictive eating disorder recovery, but it's never really named. So you have a princess in a fairy tale kingdom, and the lore in this kingdom is that every generation, every princess needs to inherit like a family heirloom dress that the whole kingdom believes is enchanted to ensure peace and prosperity once the female ruler is wearing it. And so we focus on this one princess, Princess Alia. She's very type A. She's very like OCD coded in her writing. And we have her kind of finding out a week before her big coronation ball that she does not fit into this dress. And so she and two of her servants go off into the kingdom in disguise, like on a quest to find a rumored alchemist who can provide, they think, a magic potion that will make her body the right size to fit into the dress. And that's Act 1 is kind of the quest. I mean, like, not to spoil it, but like they find the potion, they find the alchemist, and Act 2 is like she is taking the potion and she's wearing the dress and she's like really adhering to her society standards in this way. Like she's the perfect ruler in their eyes. But it has all these side effects and all these consequences, and and she finds out like that it's killing her slowly, like being on this potion, and it's kind of about her journey to choosing herself in the end, and like even if the kingdom is not going to accept her without the dress, like just saying, you know, like screw it, like I'm gonna do what is right for me and like do what I have to do for myself.
Wow.
I was really one of my favorite things I've seen in a long time is the Netflix animated movie Spellbound. It was have you seen it? Have either of you seen it? Oh, it's great. It's so great.
Okay, I'm gonna go home and watch it
No,
tonight.
it's awesome. I like Rachel Zegler is the main voice of the princess in that, but it's another fairy tale musical. And I discovered this like a year after we started writing Measure Up, but it's genius because and it's Alan Menken's first animated musical since Tangled, barring Sausage Party. He did music for Sausage Party, but otherwise I know, but otherwise his first animated musical back, and it's about a princess and her parents who have turned into monsters, and like the idea is that it's for like, the movie's really for kids of divorce because her parents have turned into monsters because they started fighting and then like lost their ability to communicate, and she and this princess like really sets out on this journey to like figure out how to break this curse and like have them, and you know, one of the great takeaways from it is that like, you know, it's not the responsibility of the child to break this curse that like you're that is brought upon your parents when they deal with these issues. But one of my dear friends like took me to like one of the screenings, and I got to like talk to Alan Menken about it, and he was like, yeah, we were very, very careful to never like say the word divorce in it, or like or bring it there or make it feel too real. Like we wanted to keep it heightened, and that's kind of how we made the story accessible to kids. Like so Sean and I like we never say anything in the vein of like eating disorder or like weight loss, anything like that. Like it's all about the magic.
Yeah.
But like you said, kids are smart.
Kids are really smart, and
it
like
leaves
and
an
it's
impact. Yeah.
exactly. It's the kind of thing that like they'll carry with them. And I was so surprised that like we had so many kids in the room who were like doing the show, like some were like as young as 10. You know, we had like some in their 20s, but like there were some younger kids who, which by the way was an insane room to run. like when you have like kids who are like barely 10 years old, and then others who are like in college. But I know there was a lot of Bluey in the room on lunch breaks. But yeah, like some of the youngest ones were like yeah, like I understand what this is about, you know, because like these are also like a lot of them are like professional actors. Like some of them have been on Broadway, and they're like, yeah, like I remember like my mother was like trying to keep me small for like to stay in the show and like stay in this role, and like it changed how I had to eat, or like, you know, like there were a couple pageant kids in the show, which like that's a whole different world.
yeah.
But yeah, like just the way that the amount of, I think, inherited perfectionism and like self-flagellation that comes with that is really like I was so impressed that they could just identify with that and run with it in this way.
Yeah. If you're okay following in this path, I'd
Yeah, of
love to
course.
ask you a little bit about your own journey with some of the material in Measure Up.
Yeah.
You have your own page on Instagram titled Ellis Chose Life, Now What?
Yeah.
And I know we're both really inspired by what you share online, but if you'd like to take the floor and kind of share some advice maybe for some of those kids that could probably use it, you know, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, like transparently, like I've shared about this kind of at length online on TikTok and on this Instagram page, on like other platforms. But yeah, no, I was like really kind of severely anorexic from the time I was, I think, 18 until I was 21. And it was very industry driven. It was very career driven. It was because I was a legal 18 who sort of looked younger. I looked, despite being taller, like I looked like 15. And that's kind of a lot of the work I was getting, like right out the gate, like right out of high school. And I, as I was getting older and like my body was changing, I really felt a need to resist that and not like let my body like do what it wanted to do naturally and just like mature and develop. And I found a lot online, you know, like as great a resource as it is, like it, you can find some like really like effective ways to harm yourself, out there. And so I really used that knowledge to kind of manipulate my own body, my own image to, like do what I really felt like I had to do, you know, and like I had a lot of people in the industry like telling me that like that was what kind of kept me marketable. Like there's like this really, I'm so not a fan of this, but just this notion of like type, like what is that? Like what is the type into which you fit? And like for me, it was like, you know, kind of like a weaker, like nerdy, like younger, entity than like I think my body was ever meant to be. And I was terrified of not being that because I felt like I would lose my worth. I felt like I would kind of be discarded professionally, and like in some cases personally. So I was very, very trapped in these really, really dangerous patterns, like started to deal with like some scary organ stuff. Like I live in extremes. Like I have OCD, like I very much, I operate that way. And it wasn't until like things got really bad that like I had to be hospitalized, and I ended up going to a facility. I went to one of the only facilities I think in the Northeast that accepts male patients, which I think is really interesting. Because most eating disorder facilities are really like it's believed that it's a women's issue. And statistically, especially like in what's reported, yes. And like I have no doubt that like yes, more women do deal with this, but like it is also it does transcend that, you know, like there are a lot of outliers, myself included. And like so I was so lucky to get help and to kind of you know, it took a lot. It took a lot of dark times to get to a place of like realizing that like this was not sustainable, like this was not a thing that I could keep doing. But I got the help I needed. I weight restored, and that was like the most stressful, most difficult thing I've ever had to do. Like I just remember like feeling like I was going against every instinct, like going against everything I thought that I was supposed to be, and like against like everything I was supposed to follow. And it quite literally saved my life. Weight restoration. And I think after the weight restoration came kind of the mental restoration of like unlearning fat phobia and kind of finding and identifying areas of worth that were not linear with body size. Yeah. And like that was huge. And it certainly inspired the contents of Measure Up. Like I knew when I was there that like when I was in treatment, when I was living in the facility, like I said, like, I want to do something with this. I like, unfortunately, unless you have a show like Next to Normal that's like so masterfully written, like medical stories are hard to turn into musicals. Yeah, so right. Like it's been fun to kind of like explore a heightened version of that. But yeah, and if anything, I've felt a real calling since I started the recovery journey to share the story, talk about it. I have talked about it kind of at length on TikTok, like on Instagram. Like I've had some viral posts that have like I think really helped people. I'm really humbled to have helped a lot of people like find treatment and like get into treatment, like people who like read and hear about like what this journey is and kind of say like, okay, I think I might need this too. I think I might need to help because I can't take credit for this quote, but I did another podcast. I did another interview like 4 or 5 years ago, like when I was actively in recovery. But this interviewer said like, yeah, like when we recover loudly, we keep other people from kind of dying and fading out quietly, which was like so profound. Yeah. And like that's such a life thesis. I think that like it means a lot. And I think I feel of service to kind of sharing this and talking about it because it's something that like, especially in this industry, like so many people are dealing with this. So many people like just I didn't. I feel fortunate to not have gone through a BFA program, but like if you look at some of these like programs, like the stuff that they're telling these kids is just abhorrent. Like it's crazy, you know. Even yeah, I think in the industry, preparing for the industry, there's this notion that like you have to be a certain way, you have to look a certain way, you have to like have very you have to have a very specific way of looking and being to be successful, and that's just not true. Like it just isn't. And it's always so exciting to see someone kind of break out of that mold and be successful. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, of course.
Truly. And I love what you said about sharing being something that impacts other people and is saving lives. I think that we all as humans go through so many things, and when you see yourself kind of represented via someone else, it's this relief a bit of like, whew, I'm not like an alien. I'm not crazy. I'm not this single entity that has experiencing this for the first time. Like there are other people out there that have gone through this, and I might be able to do the same thing. So thank you for sharing with us, but thank you for sharing in general. I think that it's so vulnerable and incredibly difficult.
I mean, I think like barring some of what's learned in like very meaningful, deep connections, I think we all to some extent feel like we're the only not normal person in the world. Yep. like everyone else is just like effortlessly normal or like successful and like doing what they should. And like the fact that it takes work for us is like, it's the big dark secret when in fact, like we are all struggling in that way, I think.
Yes.
You truly have so many amazing credits. It's hard to pick and like a highlight here, but you mentioned Next to Normal. You
Yes.
played Gabe in
did.
Taiwan.
In
Is that
Taiwan,
correct?
yeah,
Can
no.
you tell us all about that journey as a whole, and then also just like any new works that you've worked on and are excited about and just want to share with us?
Yeah, oh my God, of course. Well, I was so lucky to get to work on Next to Normal. It's a show I think I loved because it came out when I was a kid on Broadway, and then like I found out that they were bringing it to Taiwan, and I was like, oh, I have to get a tape for this. Like I have to get seen for this. And it was so special to work on, and it was also like it was the kind of thing where like it could have been a replica production. It could have been exactly what it was in 2009, but I think getting to sort of work with that team and have a lot of think tank coverage, because this was the original Taiwan production. It was the first time it had ever been in the country. It was a national premiere, and what was so cool about that production is that we got to sort of put our own spin on it for 2023, and I got to recently go back into it in 2025, which was so exciting. But to kind of bring it into the 2020s in some ways, and also to kind of honor, we had an all Asian cast, not an all Taiwanese cast, but like everyone in the cast was Asian in some way, and to sort of think about how that affected the story, and think about like what it's like to be an immigrant family in the US, and what it's like to be a family like, that's already aspiring to be a very nuclear, very traditional family, but having them not be white, and kind of the layers that adds. We had Han Chang as Diana. Like I've loved her for a very, very long time. And she brought so much of herself to Diana, and it was so amazing to see that. And to kind of see like a version of the show where like, you have two parents who like they both of the actors playing our parents like have Taiwanese accents, and the two kids like had very like standard American accents, and kind of what that means for like, you have this family that's really trying to assimilate, and on top of that, like dealing with the mental health issues that in a lot of Asian cultures, it's very taboo and inappropriate to talk about or acknowledge, especially in the household, and especially for women. Like, especially for women, like the mental health of women in a lot of Asian countries, sadly, is kind of glossed over and ignored. And like, culturally, it's a thing that like a lot of women are sort of taught to keep to themselves, keep private. And then like you kind of see that bubble over, and like this catastrophic stream of events that happen in the show, that I think just like added a whole other layer to it. And my only regret, and I guess not regret, but like the sad thing about it is that like American audiences didn't get to experience it. And so I've been talking to some people, like I would love for that production to somehow end up in the US, because I think it would resonate with people so deeply. I think it would really, really just change lives, change minds and hearts. Like we were talking about, just it's so important to see yourself represented, and that's it really achieved that for me, and I think for audiences out there. And I would love for audiences here to see that, since it's a show set in the US. And you were asking about other shows, things I've had my eye on. One of my favorite new pieces that I've gotten to work. This was 2021. It was 2021. It's a musical called Far from Canterbury. Danny K. Bernstein wrote it. But it was, I think, everyone's first show back from COVID. It was like one of the first like equity sanctioned productions out of the pandemic, and it was so magical for that reason. But also it's such an incredible show. It's a musical about male accountability. It does also happen to be another fairy tale show. I love a fairy tale show.
Like you love fairy tale.
Into the Woods. I've done it a few times. It is my favorite musical of all time. But Far from Canterbury, it's like loosely based on the Canterbury Tales. in one of the stories. But you have a knight, my character, who gets accused of like having kidnapped a princess and like abandoning her in the woods. And like we think he's like wrongfully accused of this. You find out toward the end of Act 1 that like technically he is guilty of this because he heard stories growing up about like young knights who would rescue princesses from the towers, kiss them awake, and you find out that like his right, like his two best friends, it was Seth Tucker and Kennedy Coggle, like two fantastic performers who I got to do this with. But like he tried to do this when he was 16. Like there was a princess asleep and he tried to kiss her awake, and like it lost her in the process. And then it's kind of about the redemption arc of like how you come back from something like that. And it's the thing that made it so special and unique, and I think the thing that like the world really needs right now is that like you have so many shows. If you look at like the sixes of the world, like that teach women to be empowered and like encourage women to like stand up and fight, you don't have a lot of shows that teach men how to not be terrible. And that's a very, very different thing. It's a very different conversation. And what was so interesting about the show is that you have this male character who like made a mistake that was very much the product of the society from which like I don't know, think about like some of the terrible things that men do in our society because that's just like what they're taught is okay. And I loved that it was sort of about how like you can hold yourself accountable and come back from that and still do the right thing, even after you make a mistake. And I just loved that I could see a lot of young men in the audience who can take so much from that. And the score is beautiful. Like the show is beautiful. It's so much fun.
I'm like, I want to see that.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Well, Ellis, thank you so much for finally doing this with us.
Thank you.
This was just incredible. I am so fascinated by you. Where can the people find you if they want to keep up with you?
Oh, good question. On Instagram, at Ellis_Gage, on my website, or otherwise in voice therapy these days.
He's on vocal rest. We pulled him out of it.
Sure.
So yes, we'll have the next episode of Not From Here coming out March 16th. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much to Noah Wisniewski for all of his hard work on all of our episodes. We love you and appreciate you.
If you want to keep up with us on social media, our @ is at notfromhere.podcast. That is NOTFROMHERE.PODCAST. And as always, I'm Riley Klauza.
I'm Isa Rodriguez.
And I'm Ellis Gage.
And we are definitely
not from here.
Bye.